What's coming up in March then?
March is...
You always know these things that I kind of tend to forget, but...
Because I write them down.
She writes them down.
I do write them down. March is already upon us, and we have got some really good stuff coming up in March. We're out and about quite a bit. So, in fact, we're out and about on Saturday. We're going to be at the Independence Forum for Scotland events. So if you're there, come and say hello to us. We love having a chat to people who listen to the podcast. As you know, we do a premiere at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday evening on YouTube. So what we've got on the 4th, Tuesday the 4th, is the Scottish Socialist Party annual Jim McVicker lecture, which we were at in Glasgow last weekend.
It's 40 years since the miners' strike. You kind of have to be more our age to probably know much about the miners' strike. But let's put it like this: it was certainly a dark time around what was happening in the UK, and the Prime Minister was Mrs. Margaret Thatcher. But it was a chap called Alex Shanks who gave one of the talks, and he was a 19-year-old. He just moved into work, a 19-year-old miner when all this was kicking off. Unfortunately, kicking off is a euphemism, actually, because it was a lot worse than people getting kicked. I mean, when you hear it firsthand like that, it just I found it really, really well. I was going to say engaging, but I mean it's more than that. It's really moving, actually. And then it was Richie who did the second talk, wasn't it?
Yeah, nothing like being in a hall with people, there in the flesh, talking about their first-hand experiences, not spun through the media, just what it was like for them.
Anyway, listen to the podcast. It's really good.
On the 11th, we've got frequent guests of the podcast, Bill Ramsey and Isabel Lindsay. And again, I think they're going to be talking to us about what's going on in the world around us with Trump and the madness that's currently overtaking America.
Again, those of you who listened to the recordings we've done with Bill and Isabel, so one of their main, background themes is always getting rid of nuclear weapons. And I think that will be part of this as well, but because how NATO operates is up in the air at the moment. If you've got Trump siding with Putin, they just want to talk about all of that, and we know them. We know they think things through, and they'll have some thought-provoking ideas to give us.
Absolutely. And then on the 18th will be whatever podcast we get out of our visit to the Independence Forum. And usually when Marlene and I go along to these days, we record things we think will be particularly interesting, and then we share them with you and we do a bit of chat about it and give you a bit of context or our own opinions. So I expect we'll be doing that again. And then on the 25th, it will be March's live stream, which they seem to come around very quickly. But if we're doing one a month, it's amazing how much can happen over the course of a month that we can get into the live stream.
Yeah.
And as we often say, because anything can happen in this month, this might change.
Yes, it might well change. And maybe actually we could mention us now. We've just put out a podcast extra, which is about Grangemouth. And it's an episode of Rising Clyde, such as hosted by Ian Bruce. And he got together some of the people who are involved at Grangemouth working there, but also people who've been demonstrating there, and just looking at all the ramifications of a possible shutdown, especially when there is a solution. There's at least one thing. I'm sure there are more than one thing, but at least one thing Grangemouth could swap over to doing, which is producing sustainable aviation fuel. Anyway, it was an extra that we put out because Grangemouth is, still in the news at the moment. So again, have a look at that. It's on the website or wherever you get your pods.
Something else happening in March, if you're interested in economics, and we know a lot of our listeners are, this year's Festival of Economics it's in Dundee, in person or online. It's the 21st and 22nd of March, and you'll be able to get tickets from the Scottonomics website. So if you're interested at all in the economic future of Scotland, and who isn't, that's a really good one to tap into.
You may not know this, but today is La Abersh na Gaelic, which stands for Gaelic Phrase Day, or Day to Use Gaelic Phrases. So Fiona and I are going to have a go.
Hello, it's Misha Fiona. Agus Shaw, Marlene.
Hashin and Dochis gun East Shift Rish a podcast akin. Should we tell them what that means? We think
Please.
what that means. So definitely what Fiona said was, she said, I'm Fiona and this is Marlene. And then what I think I said was, we hope that you'll listen to our podcast. Ha podcast uur gach jehunya an, which I think means there's a new podcast every Friday.
Yay!
So I'm sure, those of you who are Gaelic speakers are probably, rolling your eyes at this. But anyway, as the Gaelic folks say, Fiar Gaelic briste na Gaelic ansachiste, which means better broken Gaelic than Gaelic in the coffin. Anyway, we hope all the rest of you have had a go at a Gaelic phrase today, and what a good idea.
Yeah, great. And we'll be practicing for next year's.
Yeah, we will.
Also, the 8th of March is International Women's Day, and Believe in Scotland are going to be having an Independence Campaign Day in Prestwick, so you'll get information about that on their website. We'll be there. Come and say hello if you see us.
So that's it for another the next month coming up, and tune in and watch and listen, and thank you very much for all your support. And of course, if you want to buy us a coffee, you can do that on coffee.com.
We drink a lot of coffee.
We drink a lot of coffee, especially on the train when we're traveling around.
Bye
Thanks,
then. Lady. Bye now.